Hey guys, this is the Motorcycle TransAm Podcast. Welcome to the Motorcycle TransAm Podcast, where we're going to take you behind the scenes on this really exciting antique motorcycle race. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Sean.
And let's get into it. So first of all, I want to thank our sponsors for the race, Legends Motor Co., the Antique Motorcycle Club of America, and Competition Distributing.
So, as a lot of you guys know, I run competition distributing with Tom Banks, and then we also have Kevin O'Neill on board with us as well. He's our full-time engineer. We've been, heavily involved in antique motorcycles for quite some time. We all are previous Cannonball riders, and it's just kind of our world. We deal with it every day. So, this is kind of our life and what we do, and we're really excited about this new event and bringing in another opportunity for these old bikes to thrive.
And a lot of you guys might not know me. I'm kind of behind the scenes on a lot of this stuff with branding, with storytelling, writing blogs, sending emails. That kind of all comes from me, even though a lot of you guys don't see who's sending them. All right, so since you've done this before, what is something that you're excited for, or a story that you have from another endurance run or anything like that?
Yeah, so oh man, I got so many stories really, but vintage motorcycles is a crazy thing in general, but when you take on an event like this, it's even it's kind of hard to put into perspective unless you're actually doing it. But one of the most memorable things for me was in 21, I was riding 1913 single cylinder across the country in the Cannonball, and that was a feat that I'll never forget my entire life as far as just trying to attempt something like that. Obviously, I didn't make every single mile, but it was a crazy experience between trying not to get killed in traffic and trying to keep the bike running and just keeping gas in it, all those kind of things. But it was a lot of fun, and one of the most memorable things I guess for me was we went into it really unprepared. It was a last minute thing for me. I had found out I got into the event like 2 weeks prior, I think it was. It was right around the same time I was starting to hang out with Tom and George.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things is like, hey, you got in, like we got to get a bike ready for you. And it was like, holy cow. So we were scrambling just to put all of our bikes together, let alone a bike that I just found out I was going to ride 2 weeks prior. So that was a fun part of it for us, is getting ready and kind of just predicting what was going to happen. And then, starting up in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, we drove all the way up there, got the bikes off. And the first time I ever really put any miles on it was the event itself. And
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts, So that was an experience, like kind of learning how to ride the bike in that particular event. And then actually getting out there and doing it, and being in the single cylinder class, it's the most challenging of all of them. And that's what I wanted to do, was try to challenge myself, even though the other ones are probably just as challenging, if not the same. But
yeah, when you're riding 100-year-old bikes, it's kind of a challenge no matter what you're riding.
Right. So that to me was like one of the first really memorable things. But then actually getting into it and trying to keep the mechanical aspects of the bike going, that was really hard. And that was so many crazy stories from that whole thing. But we found out that the bike wasn't getting enough fuel, so I would literally have to take the gas cap off, lean down, and blow into the tank while going down the road to reprime the carburetor. I had kids looking through windows of cars looking at me like going, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
Getting passed by semis going 70 miles an hour while I'm going 32. And, it was just stuff like that. There's so many stories we could tell about it, but it really is an experience like no other, and we're definitely super excited about this one. So
yeah. And the first time I think you ever saw Tom and George was when Tom was on his single practicing or something.
Actually, yeah. So Tom was on his 36 VLH.
Oh, I was thinking it was on his single and he was vetting it.
No, so he was practicing for the musket ball, I believe, with Doug Watkey and them guys down in Arkansas.
Yeah.
And I have an old pickup truck I was driving, and I was driving down the road and I see the Cannonball van, and I see Tom on the 36 VLH. George was in the van chasing him, and they were vetting the bike for that. So I kind of chased him down that day.
Yeah, when you see a bike like that on the road, it's not every day around here we see that.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. So the Motorcycle TransAm, Kels, we get a lot of questions about, like what's eligible, what are you allowed, what are you not allowed? So give everybody a rundown on that.
Yeah, so I mean, our number one rule is it has to be 100 years old. So we both know that. We're not going to move from that rule. Your bike has to be 1925 or prior. So the engine cases have to be original. You're allowed to make safety modifications, obviously, for the brakes and the tires and all of that. We want everybody to be as safe as possible with these 100-year-old machines.
Right, and also like carburation and that kind of thing, you can have a more modern carburetor. You can't have like a Mikuni or something like that. It still has to be a linker, but you are allowed to get away from the Sheblers and some of the super early stuff as well. And ignition systems, you can run magnetos. You don't have to have the original ignition. You can make modifications to an ignition system or anything like that. What we're really primarily asking is the bike, obviously be safe for the road. That's a responsibility of the rider, is to make sure it meets all the safety requirements of the standard, operating vehicles on the road. And, just look period correct. Original engine cases, you can't have like a crazy engine in there or crazy modifications the outside of the engine. It just has to be a real deal, 100-year-old motorcycle, again, with some safety mods and stuff that's going to allow you not to get killed out there.
Yeah. So,
Kelsey, everybody, I get a lot of questions about this. So, like, who's in so far? What kind of bikes are in so far? How early? That kind of thing. What's some of the standout bikes you've seen so far sign up for this?
So our newest sign up, that is like a big standout for me, I know for Sean too, is 1911 Reading Standard. I'm really excited to see that with Norm Nelson. So we're really excited about that, Norm. And we have, the champ Dave Courier, who is an ex-Cannonball champ.
Yeah, Dave's a fierce competitor.
On his 1911 Harley. So that's another really early bike that we're excited to see. Who else we got?
Is there...
we have Jeff Durant on his early Harley, maybe even a Coventry Eagle. He wasn't sure when he signed up. Who else? We have some early Hendersons, like Frank Westfall's 1914 Henderson.
Wow, that's some pretty cool bikes. I know the Hendersons are really tough contenders. Anybody knows the four-cylinders, they run phenomenally, especially when they're built by the guys out of Fourth Coast Fours there. Mark and Loring Hill, them guys are awesome. So,
but really any bike this early is going to be... It's going to be insane to see, and we're really excited for everybody who just comes along for the ride to, stop at each stop. We're excited for you guys to see, because even if it's just a 1925, and I say just, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I don't mean
still
that.
100 years old.
It's still 100 years old
Yeah.
and insanely hard to keep going for 4,000 miles.
Yeah.
So those are going to, any bike is cool to see.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing about this this run that we're doing. It's its own animal. It's not like anything that's been done before. We're actually really pushing the limits of the riders and the bikes. We kept it as short as we physically could for time constraints, obviously, so people don't have to take a crazy amount of time away from their normal everyday lives.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we wanted to give you the most, scenic route we could, as well as not doing something the normal way. So we took away a lot of rules and restrictions as far as during the day. The riders aren't going to have like mandatory stops. They're not going to be required to meet like checkpoints or answer anything like that.
Yep.
It's going to be about you and the bike during the day. And that's like the biggest thing we wanted to focus on was once you cross that starting line in the morning, it's you and your machine. And, all you have to focus on every day is just getting to the end of that finish line. And I will say this, time isn't going to be a crazy restraint. The only thing we're going to really keep tabs on is to make sure that everybody gets in before nightfall. And obviously that's 100% because of safety. But, if you're on the course during the day and you want to stop and check out a piece of, history or scenery along the way, you'll have the comfort of knowing you'll have some time to do that. You're not going to, be really killing yourself trying to get to that finish line or a checkpoint or a mandatory stop. So.
Yeah, there's going to be some really cool views in like Appalachia or Utah. There's a certain day that's going to really stand out. There's some really cool days that we want you guys to stop and enjoy it, but also at the same time, you're still going to be pushing yourself.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. When I say it's more lackadaisical, it's definitely not going to be easy by any means.
Yeah.
These are really long days. But the stress of the day is just going to be you and the machine and making it to that finish line, keeping it running. It won't be all the added stress of everything else. So.
Yeah, and one thing that I just wanted to, I know we've talked about it before, but I just want to also point out and talk about again. The rule is anybody can help anybody, right? So it's not just, it's you and the machine, but the riders can help each other. So I want to really stress that again. I know that there was some talk in the beginning, which is fine. We listen to you guys. We want to hear you. We want to make this ride as good for you as it is for us. And so helping each other out is all part of it. And that camaraderie with each other.
Right. And when Kel says helping each other, it's, it's still limited to the riders on the course. It's not outside help. Like obviously you can't have a chase truck on the course with you during the day. You can't have anything like that. But we took a lot of flack in the beginning because we were trying to make it really competitive, and we have a board. We appointed 5 people that are very, very experienced in doing this and are very well respected in our industry. And, we wanted to give them a voice and show everyone that this isn't about us at all. All we're doing is providing the outlet for the riders and to keep this kind of stuff alive, obviously for our sport in the industry. But, like Kels just said, we took the constructive criticism and we made the necessary changes. And when I say me, I'm in the board.
Yeah.
We all sat down with the board as they make the rules, So obviously everybody was willing to open that up a little bit and make it easier because at the end of the day, this is a challenge in itself enough. It doesn't need to be knockout, punch out, crazy hard because it's already going to be hard enough. We're asking the mileage that we're doing on this run to my knowledge, it's probably the furthest done to date, like for modern day runs like this. So, we're going to be hitting just about 4,000 miles on the dot, because we're not making a straight beeline across the country. We're really dipping and diving and trying to hit as many scenic areas and stuff as we can. So it's going to be really, really tough. And I think fellow rider help on the course is probably going to be welcomed with some open arms, especially after getting burnt out, halfway through. So.
Yeah. So we're going to kick this thing off in the Outer Banks, Nags Head at Jennette's Pier, which we are very excited about. It's actually the oldest fishing pier on the Outer Banks, which was originally built in 1939. Because of hurricanes and weather and everything, it's had been rebuilt a bunch of times, but it is such a beautiful scenic spot. I'm excited for everybody to see it, and that's where our starting banquet is too. They have a banquet room that will be right on the pier, so I'm really excited about that. It's going to be cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. When we were starting the course back towards the end of last summer is when we started running it, Tom and I. We started there in the Outer Banks, and we kind of gave Kelsey an overwhelming task of, we were roughing the course in for this run, and we had it kind of easy, because we just kind of get there and we're like, yep, this is cool, let's do it. Well, it's not that easy, unfortunately. She has to figure out where we're actually going to start, how all this is going to work. It was a lot of work for her to get that initial starting line down, and I think she did an excellent job at it. Where we're actually starting on the pier is like super cool. So it's actually better than when I originally picked. So like she just said, we're excited for you guys to see that, and I'm actually just really excited about the whole course. So because so far, it's very very scenic, very laid back. Yeah. And
that first day is going to be so beautiful.
Yeah. The first day is going to be super awesome. It's a nice, easy day. It kind of gives the rider and the machine time to get familiar with each other. But I will say, after the first day, better put on your big boy, big girl pants, because it's going to get pretty tough, especially on the East Coast. So.
Yeah, that first day we're going to end in Apex, North Carolina, which is a beautiful little town. I'm really excited to start there. We're going to end at the town hall there, and we're kind of inviting everybody in the town to come, which is going to be a reoccurring theme everywhere we go. We are really going to invite everyone. We want to make it a community event. So Apex, you're starting us out, and we're really excited to see what you have in store at your beautiful town hall, which is a stunning building.
Right. So we're using like the towns for finish lines, right, Kels?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we'll stop at businesses in the town. Sometimes it'll be the town themselves. It just kind of depends on where we can get the permitting, everything. But no matter where we stop, we're really going to have the towns involved. I've been working with, from the chambers to the visit towns like Visit Statesville. I've been working closely with them, and a lot of the visit part of their government is working close together with us, and they're going to get the word out and kind of get their community involved. And obviously we'll get the antique motorcycle community that's close to there. If it's the AMCA chapter that's close to there, they'll be involved. If there's cool antique cars, maybe we'll have a car show at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. A lot of these towns are showing up big for us. They're just as excited about it as we are, and for the riders especially. The finish line's kind of important because it's a really big monument for the day. If you can make it to that finish line, that's a massive achievement. I don't care if you make every mile or not, but any day you can make that finish line is a huge thing. So we're definitely looking forward to that. One of the stops I'm pretty excited about is Columbia Motor Alley.
Yeah, that's going to be a really cool one, and we're going straight there from Wheels Through Time, which we love Wheels Through Time.
Yeah,
we always love stopping there.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. So straight from, it's 2 big days, Wheels Through Time to Columbia Motor Alley. It's going to be 2 amazing days.
Yeah. So we're real excited about that. Good start to the race. Matt and the crew over at Wheels Through Time are opening their doors and hosting us, and I know from past events they do a killer job. That's probably some of the best crew on the planet as far as for vintage motorcycles, Matt and his team. So definitely looking forward to that. And then, Michael obviously letting us use his place for a finish line.
Yeah.
That's super awesome of him, and letting us kind of see his little antique collection he's got there and how he restored that dealership from the 30s and 40s. It's just absolutely amazing. So. Yeah.
And when we go, so the second day back to Statesville, North Carolina. So in Statesville, we have Jennette at Westside Twins, which I'm really excited to stop at because she has a little tie-in with the antique community, and she used to drag race with some of the people in our community. So I'm really excited to stop over there at Westside Twins in Statesville.
Awesome.
All right, I got to bring out the paper for all the stops, although I know them. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody because they've all been so great to work with. We have, so after, Wheels Through Time and Columbia Motor Alley, we have Cape Girardeau, which has been rolling out the red carpet for us. Joshua over there.
That's a cool town. It's right on the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I believe that the finish line is like right off of the Mississippi, so it's going to be a really cool spot to go to.
Yeah, and the scenery coming into that town is phenomenal as well, so definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, and then we got Branson, Missouri, which is like a cool city, which they're really used to hosting people. Their tourism is just huge in that town, so it's going to be really cool because they've told me about 1 million times about how great at hosting they are, so I'm excited to go there. After that, we got the Twisted Oz with Kelly.
Oh man, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Twisted Oz, obviously, phenomenal place again, another great museum, and Kelly is one of my favorite people. Great guy. Him and that whole crew over there, the Kansas crew, we call him. A lot of fun. Definitely looking forward to that. And that day too, I believe we are stopping at the only hosted stop that we have for the entire run across the country.
Lunch spot. Yeah, lunch stop. You mean, yeah.
We're stopping at the Big Brutus, which might sound kind of goofy, but Tom said the same thing to me until I actually got him to see it. It's a super cool piece of history equipment. Massive electric shovel that was, I think, decommissioned in the late 70s, I believe.
Okay.
If I'm wrong on that, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. I've been going there ever since I was, started working out in Kansas. But it's really cool, and they're opening up the doors for us. They're going to let us bring the bikes right down in the machine and actually, take photos in the bucket. I mean, this bucket's massive. We couldn't even fit it in a building. You could fit a bunch of bikes in this. This thing's just absolutely huge. So they're gonna let us take pictures and stuff. So I thought that'd be pretty cool.
All right, Sean's giving away my secrets because that was a secret that I hadn't announced yet. But hey, you heard it here first.
Well,
We're stopping at Big Brutus. After the Twisted Oz, we have Dodge City, which has a super rich, which I had heard about before the Dodge City 300, a super rich antique motorcycle history.
Yeah, so obviously, I think most people know I'm obsessed with board track racing and vintage racing in general, and pretty much everything that we do, especially Harley, it was a huge place for them. That's where Harley debuted their race team, in 1914 was Dodge City. So until that time, Harley wasn't even into racing. It was Indian and Merkel and Excelsior and all those, other big companies back then. And Harley stayed out of it. They didn't want to be tied into the board tracks and all that stuff. So Dodge City is a huge, historically rich town. It's actually voted, I think, one of the coolest Western towns still, I believe.
It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool little town with where we're stopping. There's like a museum right across the street, and there's an arch, and it's a really cool spot.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that one again because it's just so tied into what we're doing and everything we're about. So
yeah, then after that, I think it's a town that we weren't originally. We didn't have it on our map or anything, but when you drove through it, Trinidad, Colorado, when you guys drove through it, you were like, we have to make this a stop. It's such a cool place.
Yeah. Trinidad was one of those ones that kind of caught us by surprise, because we're trying to set our mileage for every day and get something, historically significant and obviously scenery and just check all the boxes, So Trinidad was one of those towns where we have to stop here.
Yeah.
Really cool town. We're definitely excited for that one. Again, every one of these stops is going to be a lot of fun. So,
and then another one is Durango, Colorado, which I know a lot of people know from the Four Corners Rally and everything like that. And that's just another city that we can't miss, I don't think.
Yeah, Durango's obviously cool. Colorado in general, it's hard to pick a town that's not cool in that state. So
yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and so the next announced stop we have after that is one that I'm personally really looking forward to. I know Sean is too, is the Legends Motorcycle Museum.
Oh yeah, so Rick, obviously, he's one of our main sponsors for the event. And his whole crew there, they're going to have some riders in their event, and then obviously the Legends Motorcycle Museum, Rick's collection is second to none, and I haven't personally been there yet. So
yeah, me either.
I've seen tons of photos, and obviously I've talked to Rick in the past, but I can't wait. I'm super, super excited.
Yeah, I've just looked at the photos and everything of the museum, so I can't wait to get inside and check everything out.
Yeah, I know he has some of the most rare, especially early bikes on the planet, so definitely right up our alley.
Yeah, we have some other stops that we haven't announced yet, so we're not going to talk about those right here. But another cool place is the Evergreen Aviation and Aerospace Museum that we're going to stop at, which has the Spruce Goose.
Yeah, so that was another nerd alert for me. I from the very beginning, I told Kelsey, I said, we have to get the Spruce Goose in on this. And you guys might say, why would you want an airplane for an antique motorcycle run? Well, that airplane has direct history to Harley-Davidson racing again. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows who Joe Petrali was, obviously a very successful career racer for Harley-Davidson. He was the flight engineer on the Spruce Goose's one and only flight with Howard Hughes. So super cool tie-in to our world. And obviously a lot of guys, I think, that like motorcycles like aviation as well. So again, it would be really kind of a neat event to get, 100-year-old motorcycles with this awesome aviation museum. So
yeah. So after this week, we're going to talk with some of the riders, maybe some of the stops that we're stopping at, kind of get where everybody's at with their bike, with their, with the building the bikes and with the testing.
There's a lot that goes into this, a lot that's not seen behind the scenes, so to speak. Getting the bike ready itself, it's a massive undertaking. Getting to that finish line, just to the beginning of the race is a massive undertaking to be prepped for that. Having the crew with you, having all the it's just a lot, you know.
And I mean, even being physically ready, this is physically taxing on your body. So you have to be physically ready in addition to mechanically ready with your bike and everything.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy feat by any means. So there's a lot behind that we want to try to showcase with this podcast and try to show people like what actually goes into it, leading up to it. You know, we're only a few months out now. It's under a year, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it seemed like yesterday we were like just announced this whole thing. So it's getting down to crunch time, and I know I actually have some stress on my plate as well because I'm building some frames for some of these guys. So you know, it's a lot of stuff, and we want to make sure you guys can see that. You know, so some of our riders, we want to get you on here, talk to you about what your preparations are and what you're looking forward to and where you stand with your bike and if it's close to being ready or not.
Yeah, we have Tim coming up. We have Dave Courier. We have Bill Page. That's just a few of the ones we have coming up. I know I didn't forget anybody. We have other people coming up too.
Yeah. So I would say like the thing about this event that differs from other stuff that's gone down in the past and anything that's ever been done is we're really just focusing on the riders, which is what makes this entire thing go. And taking the feedback that they've given us and just trying to fine tune this thing and make it the best event we possibly can for our community. Obviously, antique bikes is our life, and it's most of our listeners' lives as well. It's a whole deal. So we really want to focus on the bikes, the riders, and showing the spotlight and the amount of preparation and care that go into all this. And when you're out there on the course, we want you to feel like you made the right decision, and it was an event that you're going to remember the rest of your life.
When you're in the pits at night, you're with your crew, because we know how important the crew is. When you're with that crew, and we're really going to highlight that too and have people going around and videoing that. So even if you don't remember because you're so tired and so exhausted from the day, we'll have it on video so you can remember what happened that day. Yeah,
and you have Jody doing that, right, Kels?
Yeah, we have Jody Perowitz coming in, and we all know her accent. We love it. We know it.
I think that's why it was mandatory for us to make Jody our commentator for the entire event.
And, she's a great interviewer, storyteller, so she's going to come in and kind of get all of that. In addition to with photos, we have Edzo, if you guys might know him from, he takes photos at Sons of Speed, and we have Olivier taking photos too, who's done a lot of past cannonballs, chases, and they both take really fantastic stuff. And Olivier is a photojournalist too, so he's going to get into some of these publications and tell the story about our race.
Yeah, that's awesome. We've worked with Olivier in the past. His eye for a different style photo taking is amazing. I always love his stuff. And then obviously Edzo is great in his own way.
Oh yeah.
Ed's been with us since Sons of Speed, and he takes some amazing stuff. So definitely excited to have those guys on our team.
Yeah.
So Kels, I get this question a lot. Everybody's always asking how many people are signed up. So where are we with that?
Yeah, we're at probably about 75%.
Okay.
Ish. So yeah, we're getting there, which we're only 8 months away. So if you're on the fence, I'd jump in because you got to get your bike ready.
Yeah, so that's the big thing. You need a lot of time to get prepped for this, and we have a ton of people still asking us questions and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, Kels is always available for this, so she's the head of the race and running everything. So you can reach out to her. We have tons of social media stuff. We're constantly doing posts, putting information out there, all that good stuff. But you have to get signed up. We're not going to let anything over 75 in the race. So it's we want to keep it personal for the riders. We want to keep it a great experience for everybody. We don't want to get in crowded for the teams themselves. So 75 is where we're drawing the limit, and once that hits that mark, that's it.
So it's motorcycletransam.com, and then all of our socials are just Motorcycle TransAm. So thanks so much for tuning in this week. If you guys have any questions or any comments or anything, feel free to email me. It's Kelsey, Kelsey, at competitiondist.com. I'll kind of be setting up riders and setting up interviews and everything like that. So email me.
Awesome.
So subscribe to us. This will be on any podcast channel that you listen to, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Amazon Music, anything like that. It'll be on that. So, yeah.
Yeah, check it out, guys. Make sure you keep in touch with us. Any comments, questions like that, again, Kelsey's a person to go to.
Yeah.
Again, we're getting really close to the starting line, the starting date. Obviously, it's only a few months away here, September. So make sure you get signed up. Make sure you get in touch with her if you're on the fence or whatever, so we can at least hold you a spot.
Yep.
And yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
And look out for Tim Burns next week, because we will interview him and he'll be up in a week.
Awesome. See you guys.
Bye.